The missions are pretty simple. Just I guess the very first thing, where it's just score 10 goals. You have unlimited amount of time to do so. So I can do that real fast since I know how to score goals in this thing. It was pretty funny. I got my mom to play this, and she's never held like an Xbox controller in her life, and she was able to do this. I was like, man, if she can play this, then anybody can. So this is all made in Unreal 4, if anybody cares, as opposed to Unity or anything else. The reason we picked Unreal 4 as opposed to Unity is mainly the lighting systems, and because I think Adam's worked with some of the guys at Riot before, and they use Unreal 4 for stuff. So for the single player challenges, we get a ranking and all that stuff, and you can see how well you've done. We do have like some we could do stats and stuff to see how like global high scores on things, but and then some of the other missions are, that was just like a simple challenge sort of thing. Should have hand rolled. Yeah, we should have written our own engine. That's true. Do it college style. Some of the other challenges are like collection missions. So this one, we're actually just collecting our objects, trying to learn how to. Oh man, I changed the wall jump, so now I suck at wall jumping because update 8 has all these changes to it. So I'm awful actually playing the game on the official client right now because I made it totally different. Especially this segment where I got to do the Mega Man X jump. Jesus. Oh, and I got to do it to the left. Ah, hell. This is gonna be me for like an hour. I use the fucking keyboard. That's how bad I am at this section. On there we go. All right. Yeah, those the platforms that we put in here, these missions are like brand new, and we haven't even had time to art them up yet. So they're just like these particle crap invisible things, and they're they're not the best. And then of course the we have more challenge missions, like this is the solo mastery mission. So this is some of just the single player challenges. This one is three bots against you. Get out of here, jerks. Get in there. Inspiration from speedrunners. I have not played speedrunners, so no. But I have heard of speedrunners. I just haven't. I should probably do that, you know, like play more. So what were you working on? Before this? As in before I started working on Dashkin, what have I worked on? I worked at Amazon Game Studios. I worked at some startups in San Diego. I worked at Electronic Arts for a while. I worked on, I was at BioWare in San Francisco for a while working on like the Dragon Age Legends Facebook game. I worked on some stuff for Mass Effect 3. Worked on a MOBA called Dawngate for EA, which got canceled. But that was oh jeez, there we go. And I decided to leave Amazon Game Studios after many years because they haven't released jack shit. So they're just afraid of shipping a project. And Lumberyard sucks. It's like, why can't companies just be good at one thing? Yeah, that's definitely true. I'm making this look really easy against these bots, but it's pretty tough. Alright, I got unranked. I didn't do nearly as well as I should have. But that's kind of how the game is working right now. And we have these big... we got big plans for how it's going for the rest of it. And we'll be getting to Steam sometime before the end of the year. With we're not going to get to Steam until we have a story mode. Until we have, you know, because we've got right now these 90... We've got... Yeah, all these 70 challenge missions. We've got 5 different maps. We'll have a 6th one next weekend for multiplayer. It's like I can kind of go through the different maps. But we're not going to get to Steam until we have the multiplayer, the challenges, and the story mode. Because I don't really like the idea of launching on Steam without, you know, like real content. Anyway, so this is the Grasslands. This is our first map. Just simple goals. And like a little hill in front of the goal. And we got all original music for this from Lee Miller, who did the music for some of the Dashkin shorts on Newgrounds. He's a real cool guy. We'll have new stuff. Who came up with the creature design? That'd be Adam Phillips. The creature is a Dashkin. He could dance. And let's go to, yeah, so one of the other maps, we got Gloomy Hollow. The profit comes from AWS, but everything else. Yeah, what was I working on before? I'll get to that just afterwards. It deleted Amazon.com, it's true. Yeah, the main thing with Amazon games that I didn't like was that basically they don't know, their entire company is not structured to ship games. So like games take years and years, and they're used to running like a website that changes every 6 months. So you get a whole bunch of people who are evaluated on like a 6-month basis for their performance based on a product that won't ship for 3 years. You get a lot of pissed off people. So this one's a little bit harder. We've got this goal that is elevated. So you can't just, you know, like spike it in, and you can't just pop it up into the goal. So you gotta be creative to get it all up and in there. All right, one more. There we go. Is early access the ship MVP of the game world? Yeah. Pretty much. I don't know. Early access means different things to different people. To us, since we're we're only 2 people, early access to us is like, we went into early access on our own website back in December, and we had full dedicated servers and I think like 3 different multiplayer maps, and we do an update every 3 weeks for the game. But for early access on Steam, we're going to actually have pretty much the complete game. And so we'll see. I don't know. Early access is just, who knows. Anyway, So what I'm working on before this is basically I've been doing this design for these missions, which is basically I've got these control missions. So kind of how I've been going about design stuff is like the goal of the ball control missions is to allow players to creatively solve challenges presented to them, which they must navigate difficult areas, get the balls to its destination. Since we're only two people, we gotta write documents for ourselves to keep ourselves. So there's different things we're doing with, like, if we have a ball, we want to avoid stuff. So like a series of levels where light sources will scorch this egg that you were carrying about the caverns, and different things in there where there are these fire gnats that fly around and they'll set the egg on fire and it'll blow up. It is still zoomed in, isn't it? Thank you. So we're doing work on the design. So I've got a series of things. Like we want these patrolling morgues, which are like these big Sasquatch dudes, and we want to be able to hide in bushes. So I'm putting together the objects to allow this sort of play to happen. So some of the stuff that I was been working on today. Let me turn off that music. Is with this wind. It's got a real crappy effect on it, but the wind can gust and push the ball. So we'll use that in some of these missions to, have a little obstacle. I've got these bushes, and I can hide in the bushes. As you can see, I'm all transparent there. I come out of it. But if I run through the bushes, I don't get hidden. But if I crouch through the bushes, no matter what speed I'm at, I'm always hidden in the bushes. And then I'm getting this ball thing here. So we can have something that snags this ball. And I need to move this thing a little bit. Let's see. So what is that? The ball holder capture radius is too high, so let's change that in there. Trying to think how I want this thing to move. So we don't need these level shims. Working on the ball holder. So what do we want this to do? The problem is we don't want to add a vector towards the center of this object. We just want to we want to have a small vector towards the center of the object, but we don't want it to move away from the object. So we want to suck it in. So we want to know if the object is moving away from us. So how would we tell if the object is moving away from us? We've got our apply force. We probably need another function, which is like get velocity. What? That's a transformation thing? Returns velocity? What is this? Yeah, okay. So we have like we have a weird thing going on there. This thing will output a vector. So let's just do outvel. So we're going to want to grab our static mesh and get our linear velocity and return that. Yeah, and those like bushes there, the artist who's working on everything is Clyde in chat there. I'm trying to put together stuff that'll also work in multiplayer. So I think the wind gusts and like the stealth bushes and shit like that'll work in multiplayer as well right now. Maybe not as well with like the stealth bush, but whatever. What the fuck, speak? Blah blah blah. I'm trying to think. So I want to get if this thing is moving towards or away from the ball. So is that just the dot product of the vectors between them, or something like that? So I need the. So I'll take the velocity of this and what, dot it with the direction towards the middle of the object. There's like no sound. Please put some music on. I don't have any like non-copyright music stuff that I can play because I'm a scrub. Let's see. I need the vector towards this, so that's gonna be this guy. So if the dot product is less, so I think how the dot product works is if we've got the middle of the goal and we've got the ball and it's heading in this direction, it's going to take the vector from here and we're basically going to get from 0 to 1 based on that. So if it's less than 0, the ball is heading in the other direction. So if it's less than 0, we want to add a large force towards this thing to capture it. Or we could set its velocity to 0, or how would we do it? Yeah, I guess a large velocity would do it. We also want to know if the magnitude's greater. Why can't you? Yeah, I've just got a noise gate on. My setup for Twitch is kind of rudimentary because I've just been like I'm not really on Twitch to entertain people. I'm on Twitch just to work and do like coding crap, which is really not entertaining most of the time. I mean, it's entertaining to hear me complain about shit, but I'm more on Twitch to, just work and hang out with other people who are working. So I haven't spent as much time as I probably should have going through and making my stream not suck. So if we're heading away, we want our ball. Like this is the large capture force, so And we'll want the ball small capture force. The capture radius should be actually pretty small. Alright, so if this is less than 0, and we also want to get the actual magnitude of the velocity, we want to know if this ball is traveling quickly in the other direction, I believe. We can actually negate this direction, can't we? If we took the length of the vector and multiplied it, we could slow it down based on how fast it's going. I'm kind of a server engineer by trade, so my gameplay foo is not nearly as strong as other people's at times. Why do I use blueprints instead of C++? Well, I do use C++. Like, we've got all of our C++ stuff here. I try to keep game logic for certain stuff or any sort of experimental work out in blueprints. And I use C++ for more of the heavy lifting stuff. Because a lot of the time it's not about typing speed or anything else, it's really just concepts. Is there an arrive? What is this? Arrive vector dt. Source, destination. I wrote this at some point. Maybe I should be using that. Let's do our arrive vector. Alright, so if it's less than 0 and we want the, I guess the length squared is greater than, let's have a all large force magnitude. Set that at like 1,000. So if that's true, we're gonna apply the large capture force. Otherwise, we want to apply the small capture force. This is just getting into a goddamn mess, isn't it? That's what happens with blueprints and wires and stupid things like that. I have to throw these into some local variables. So it should do a better job of grabbing this thing. It looks better, but it's not good enough. This capture force needs to be larger. The large force needs to be larger. It's at a very small value. Let me see, what was that email? Oh man, looks like somebody was playing some of the missions earlier today. That might have been me. Just run into that, why don't you? Let's print this out. I don't know how entertaining all the just fiddling around with numbers is with games, but that's how it is. Alright, so applying small, 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 large, large, large. It looks like it's working for the math, it's just it's not enough force. So I can definitely increase these values quite a bit. Oh, I'm using the small capture force for both of these. Whoops, I screwed that up. And this only latches on once, and we'll add some other effects on here for this. Like we'd have like maybe a little lightning attractor from the middle to the actual object, bouncing off the edge of that platform. There we go. It's starting to do what we'd want it to do. I think we want to counteract the force of gravity on here as well. So on our Brackensack ball, when we go to update this guy, let's see. we're gonna have gravity in here as well, so if it's frozen or stop time. Stop time, what is stop time? Okay, so we can actually do a bit of finagling here. So why don't we have a apply force? Let's have a stop gravity time. Let's see. So stop gravity for time. Make that a float. And so we'll do get stop gravity. This is greater than 0. Then we will set stop time to the maximum value. These guys. Hello, Hesnet. Welcome, sir. And we want to grab the get stop time. So we want to stop gravity on this guy for pretty much all of it. So why don't we stop it for like 2 seconds or something like that? So let's do that. And I'll clean up this wire trash mess. It's like a big spider web of stupidity. That's what the insides of my brain look like, except with goo. Studying biology and watching programming. Yeah, exactly. Or Hesnet, does that mean you're just watching videos that have things in them that people do? You should be ashamed of yourself. Alright, so the problem is that we're not approaching this thing fast enough. Because it's stopping the ball nicely, but it's not going towards. So I guess our small capture force is just not big enough. Let's see what it looks like. So the issue is that the ball is going too fast, so what we want to do is we want to slow the ball down. So, because it's going into basically an orbit, right? So what we want to do is we want to have a maximum velocity, so we want like a slowdown effect on it. So we'll take this velocity, we will multiply it by -1, multiply it by delta t, and multiply that again by that, We don't need to multiply it by that. We will just multiply it by a slowdown. Alright, so we'll slow the ball down and we'll move it towards, we'll accelerate it towards our location based on time. So what that should do is it should make it so it, instead of going into that orbit, it actually does more of what we want. Jesus Christ. Goodbye. No, it doesn't do jack shit. Alright, so we grabbed the velocity, we multiplied it by -1, then we multiplied it by a gigantic value. We should be multiplying it by a small value. Multiply it by like 0.2 or maybe just 5. Yeah, that's looking better. Yeah, alright. Get back here, you fucking ball. Alright, and let's check. Let's see, if the ball is frozen, we're actually going to move it towards the center of our object. So let's arrive. So source and destination, the source is going to be the actual actor location, and the destination is going to be hold point, world location. So our speed is going to be our frozen speed. We'll get delta T. Our frozen speed, which is going to be maybe like 1,000. Or let's just do 100. And we will just set the actor's location to that thing. So we'll see if we can actually sweep it over to our new location. I, of course, did not connect that branch. And let's make sure we're not sweeping unnecessarily. So basically, if we're close enough, do not do our arrive sweep. It needs to be a very small number. Because if the ball is just like sitting there frozen and is close enough, we don't care. So let's see, is this... Oh, because we actually already grabbed it. So we're not updating it anymore. Alright, so what we want is our grab radius, right? So we'll freeze it, and then if it's frozen, we'll move it towards, and once it's actually close enough is when we will stop tracking it. So once we've actually had the ball arrive at our location, or if it's too far away, it'll do the thing, so we can knock it out. Thank you for following Scrub Lord, always the best of company to keep. And the issue is the frozen particle effect is not locked to the ball itself. So let's go to our freeze. Let's go to update frozen. No, it's going to be the effect for this guy. So update effects, attach to component. This is the, if we are frozen, grab this guy, set the frozen effect, and attach it. Let's see when it actually removes this. It might be that when you're in the editor and you spawn a particle system, it's not super efficient. So I'm getting a little bit of jitter when it goes in there, and I'm not sure if it's because there's actual jitter or if it's because of a particle system being spawned. Ah, get out of here. Fucking wind gusts. Yeah, and it looks like it's doing just fine. And just imagine that as like a nice little pillar or something else that actually makes sense as opposed to this stupid ass thing that I put together. So let's just mess with it a little bit and see if there's anything else, anything odd that happens. Doesn't look like it. Alright, so we can kick it through. Looks like that works. How come it still has that frozen effect on there? Because the ball was destroyed? Let me see. Yeah, we get another one. So the ball got destroyed and it didn't kill the frozen effect. So it's going to be in the event graph. Do we have a... So we've got update, begin play. Do we have any end play? Yeah, so end play should destroy the frozen effect. So where is it? Maybe it's under effects. Alright, so if this is valid, then request stop on it. Let's see if we can not force it to stop. Yeah, it looks like it did actually do that. Did actually get rid of it. Yeah, sorry I didn't get your... If you're still around, Adam, I didn't get your message earlier because Discord and all that doesn't really notify me when I'm streaming. Alright. So what else have I got? So we've got this thing. We need to have the ball type. I'm gonna write this down. So we need to have a specific ball type that we attract. We're gonna need an event that gets thrown when ball is captured. And I guess we might have something where we remove the ball from play, but I'm not really sure. Exactly what I would do with that, because we'll use this in missions. Basically, it'll be like, okay, you go grab this rune ball and you bring it over to this gate, and you shove it in there and the gate opens or something, right? So we need to throw an event when we actually capture one of these balls. We need I guess an event that gets thrown when the ball is uncaptured. We need to have a number. We need to not attract balls when we have captured one. Alright, so let's see if that sudden death thing worked. Yeah, as we thought. We didn't have to do a request stop on it. Cool. Yeah, if you're running fast enough, you can run straight under that thing. Alright, maybe you can't. Not all the time. Primary BGM fade. Where is that getting logged out? That needs to go. Is that inside of the arena level object? Yeah, it looks like this guy needs to get taken out. Can't have all that log spam. Alright, so we'll have our held ball, and basically we're going to set that in here. So actually we need to set that here instead. So we need to do our, if this is valid, then what we're going to do is this thing. Anyway, why don't we work on cleaning this up a little bit. So we can set kind of our current ball in here. So we can do it like that. And we can take all these references that are these big ass things all over the place. Not hell ball, curveball. Alright. Alright, so we'll just get this all set up. Alright, so I'll have it so if there's any ball there that we have frozen, we're not going to affect anything else. Actually, stop gravity time, we can just make it kind of small. So we actually want to remove this from here. Because we've added it as our held ball. Hello, Devil 23. The stream is officially too cool. Unfollow. Yeah, exactly. Boy, here's wicked cool. Well, they have been following the I think Joe Blow threw some awesome people over to go take a look at what I'm doing, and I am just slowly trudging through getting some of these ball capture stuff working properly. So the held ball will work. We're gonna want a held ball type. So it's gonna be a ball type. So what we're gonna want is basically, let's have it be default. Let's make it so we can actually edit this. Is this GUI Kismet? I believe so. Like whenever these green things